When you consider their incredible fuel economy, their legendary reliability, and their unmatched value, it's easy to see why San Diego has fallen in like with the new Hondas.
Hi, I'm Mike Peterson. If you like friendly service, you'll like Tipton Honda, a dealer for the people. We're off Interstate 8 in El Cajon.
This episode was made possible by Qualcomm. Qualcomm celebrates Southern California's most innovative thinkers. To learn more about the entrepreneurial ideas and bold imaginations that drive the future of digital communications, visit Qualcomm.com.
In 2002, Robert Nand and Richard Kofinko teamed up to develop Creative Recreation. Going off of their experiences in the footwear business and without knowing any better, they were ready to take on an industry dominated by billion-dollar heavyweights.
We officially started Creative Rec in 2002, and as far as the funding goes, we didn't have any. Before Rich and I started Creative Rec, we both met up at Vans Shoes, and we were kind of bored with the whole action sports industry. We noticed that there was a huge void in the footwear market between athletic shoes and dress shoes. It was like all the Nikes, Adidas, Reebok, Puma, Vans, DC. They were all athletic based, and then there was the brown shoes that kind of old dudes wore with suits, and there was nothing for that young professional, and there was nothing really that spoke to our generation. So we kind of got bored with the whole action sports thing, and we wanted to set out and try to change the game and design a collection of footwear that we wanted to wear, and just got really inspired, and I think we were naive enough to think that we could do it, so we left and gave it a shot. I'm basically the president, and I oversee kind of the day-to-day operations. Rich is the creative director, and he's in charge of setting the vision for the company.
Robert and Rich knew they needed a niche, and it came in the form of a hybrid shoe line that they designed for themselves and people like them looking for something new in the footwear market.
We wanted to put together a collection of shoes for us, specifically for us, for Rich and I. And that's kind of what we did, is we noticed that there was nobody doing that, more of a lifestyle category. So we sat down and we came up with Creative Rec. And the word Creative Recreation, that name, it's not just a name that we picked out of a hat, those two random words. It's like that those words represented everything that we aspired and we dreamt about our lives becoming. I'd always dreamed about living a life, Rich had always dreamed about living a life where we could be creative, but at the same time live a life of recreation. And that's kind of where the name Creative Recreation came from. The whole premise was, imagine if your house burnt down and you had no more shoes and you had to start all over again. What shoes would you start with? And it was one of those everyday shoes, one of the shoes that you can kind of wear out and about, one of the shoes you could wear if you're going to like a wedding or a club. And we kind of put together the collection like that, like tailored around our life and our lifestyle and how we live. And we ended up doing jobs for like Gravis, Quicksilver. We started their footwear line for them. Paris Blues, Von Dutch at the time, Dickies shoes. Basically anybody that would pay us, we were going to help do some freelance work and design some product for them. And that kind of helped us get going, where we could buy some computers and open up an office and pay for our first production. So it was a tough start.
My role here at Creative Recreation is I oversee the marketing department. I do a lot of different things. I do a lot of the celebrity relations and I do a lot of gifting, and being that we don't really advertise here, we don't do any traditional advertising, so gifting is kind of our way of advertising. It's word of mouth. It's getting, it's my responsibility to get the shoes on the feet of the right people. I put our product in movies, TV, commercials, stuff like that. We don't pay for anything like that. We don't sponsor people to wear our shoes. It's just all based on relationships.
I think there were two turning points for Creative Rec. Number one, when Barney's New York picked up the brand, that was a really big turning point for us. Barney's is known for kind of that fashion go-to for the world. I think a lot of the buyers around the world shop Barney's, and that's kind of like the seal of approval. If you're in Barney's, that means you're legit. The second big turning point for us was Kanye wearing the shoes, and he reached out to us, and it was right before he dropped his second CD, and he just wanted to meet us, and he invited us into the studio, and he played his whole CD for us in the studio, and was kind of asking us what we thought, and we were like kind of blown away by this icon like asking us what we thought of his CD, and at the same time he was excited about Creative Rec because it was so new and fresh and different, and he wanted to do a shoe with us, and we were just kind of building, and it was great because like he was at this point where his career had just taken off and ours was just about to take off.
I think celebrities, are drawn to Creative Rec for several reasons. Obviously here at the office, this is our marketing suite. This is where we have celebrities come in, and they feel comfortable. They come in here and they see this environment. And I've had so many people, super successful actors, athletes, they come in here and they're like, dude, can I get a job? Like they don't want to leave. Like they come here and they feel so comfortable, and everybody on our team is so different that I think anytime somebody comes in, they feel a connection to one of us, whether it's me or somebody on my team, and they remember that that connection. It's more of a relationship. It's not just a shoe. They really feel so passionately about our product that when it comes time for their new photo shoot or whatever it is, they want to only wear Creative Recs, and I've had people refuse to wear anything else.
With growth and expansion, change is inevitable.
Creative Rec's changed quite a bit since we first started. There's about 70 employees in the building now. We have 4 different offices. We've had to grow up quite a bit, and there's a lot of people that we're responsible for, both domestically and internationally.
I think I was maybe like the 20th employee or so there's only about 20 of us. Now there's about 65 of us, and we have a million different offices. We have an office in New York, we have an office in Ireland. Here, obviously on Sunset Boulevard, we have a showroom right down the street. So we've grown a lot, and I think back then it was a lot less structured. Obviously, as a company grows, you need to make it a little bit more corporate, but I think we've done a good job at maintaining the core values and the family-like atmosphere here.
Right now, we're distributed pretty much throughout the world, from South Africa, Asia, all over Europe, down to Australia, Scandinavia. I mean, you name it, we're pretty much worldwide at this point. The
coolest thing I think we're working on right now is this one, actually, which is it's an LED shoe for The Buried Life. It's a show on MTV where 4 guys, they have a bucket list, and for everything they cross off their list, they help somebody else cross something off their list. And their motto is kind of, what do you want to do before you die? And it says that inside the shoe. And number 116 on their list was to make a shoe, and the shoe is LED. It lights up all the panels. And right now we're in the process of doing a contest for people to win.
The most popular shoe to date has definitely been the Cesario. I'm not too sure why people have gravitated to that. In my opinion, it's the branding on the logo on the toe. It's really distinctive, and there's been a lot of people that have tried to, I guess, knock it off or copy it from brands like Skechers all the way up to Gucci did a shoe that's really similar to ours. But that shoe just kind of bleeds Creative Rec's DNA, and I think that that's our iconic shoe, and people know us for that. When we first came out, people, I would say the first 2, almost 3 years, people didn't really understand what we were trying to do. This category hadn't really been developed yet, so people were looking at it like, what is that? Is it a skate shoe? Is it a trainer? Like, what? They didn't understand what the whole lifestyle thing was.
We kind of paved the way for this lifestyle niche. We were the very first to do it, and obviously other people react, such as, let's say, Nike, now they have this whole lifestyle, Supra, and I think that's great. I don't knock that. I don't think that, obviously, a little competition is good, because since we created this niche and other people have jumped on, it's created a real marketplace for it, whereas it didn't exist before. So
by overcoming what many would have thought to be impossible, Creative Recreation has set precedents in the industry, designing shoes with unique style, making them a key trendsetter in the footwear market.
5 years from now, I definitely see Creative Rec being established as one of the worldwide leaders in lifestyle footwear, and I don't think that people really understand that lifestyle footwear yet, and I would like for Creative Rec to kind of own that category.
the business, as far as I know, it will always be footwear. We don't want to venture into anything else. We want to be the complete footwear line. Anything that you can put on your feet, we want to produce. I think we're just going to keep growing. We're definitely on the right track right now, and I just see it getting better.
Lifestyle footwear is just that. It's footwear for your lifestyle. And, at the end of the day, how much time do you actually spend in a gym or running or training or anything sports related? It's not really that much of your time. And, today's, especially young entrepreneur, they're not really wearing suits anymore, and they're not dressing up like your parents' generation had to. And everyone wants to be comfortable, but everyone wants to be stylish.
Coming up, Jeff Church shows us that with Nika water, his thirst for success is motivated by helping others. It's a fact. Water is a necessity for all. Jeff Church has taken a stance as a social entrepreneur finding Nika Water, a company based on socio-economic development to help provide for some what most people take for granted.
3 years ago, we had the opportunity to meet an incredible human being named Craig Kielberger. And Craig started an organization called Free the Children when he was 12 years old. And I met with Craig, and he challenged my family and I to come to Africa to really understand poverty. My daughters and nieces looked up at me and said, Daddy, this girl next to me is 12 years old and she can't go to school because she has to get the water every day. And Daddy, this girl next to me is pregnant and, she's only 13 years old. And, Daddy, why can't we help these people? You're a business guy.
I'm the general manager for Nika, and I helped start it back in 2009, March. We're a bottled water that's primarily set up to be a donation model. We give 100% of our profits to clean water and education projects in developing countries around the world. It's not priced any higher than a regular bottle of water in the store for the consumer. Just because we give back all of our profits doesn't mean that we're going to pass on any kind of cost increase to the consumers out there.
Why can't we create a sustainable business that the profits from that business are used to create a sustainable donation model, and in our case, bring clean water and bring education to people that don't have access to it. We kind of put our heads together and began to think about creating a business that called Nika. Nika means in Zulu to give. And our idea is it's a charity, basically, that we donate 100% of the profits to, back to clean water projects around the world.
Nika, again, through our donations and our charity partners, has provided schools, has provided water checkpoints, has provided water catchment systems, wells, tree planting projects to help communities get on their feet in a holistic way. We distribute to all kinds of businesses. Anyone that can sell bottled water, we're happy to provide it for. So everything from coffee shops and cafes to bars, restaurants, hotels, nightclubs, spas, yoga studios, anyone and everyone who wants to make a difference and do it through changing the bottled water that they carry.
And we thought the bottled water industry is so big that we could, just be a tiny little gnat, in the industry. And if we could be a $10 million revenue-based company, we can donate about $1 million after tax and profits. And based on what we've learned so far, it takes about $20 to bring clean water to someone for a lifetime. And if we're donating $1 million, that's 50,000 lives that we can impact in a given year. Creating a brand on a shoestring is very difficult to do. If you're Coke or Pepsi and you've got millions of dollars in your ad budget and your PR budget to be able to throw at, Aquafina or Dasani, you can create a brand. But when you're Nika and you're self-funded by Jeff and Mike, it's very difficult to do that. So you've got to really do it on a shoestring, and you've got to really do it from a grassroots standpoint.
For marketing, we're all about the grassroots movement. We don't use a lot of traditional advertising. We're about getting to street fairs and getting to festivals, doing donations for other charities in terms of product to their events. It's about any opportunity we have to be hand-to-hand with people and give them that bottle of water and tell them that story and get them involved in the action of Nika Water.
We had to tap into social media and social networking, so we use Twitter, and we're on there pretty religiously, communicating with our fan base. We're on Facebook. We're always trying to build out our fans, communicate with our fans by posting pictures and then with sharing stuff, so it makes it viral. We really had to, kind of push our way in, but having been in there for now 2.5 years, the great thing is we're getting people that are calling us just about every day saying they'd like to put Nika in because they've heard about what a great company it is and how authentic it is.
Jeff is a longtime family friend of ours, of mine, and when he decided to start Nika, he had called me up and asked if I was interested in a social business and being a social entrepreneur. It's not something I had thought of before, but it sounded exciting and it sounded interesting. So, after some conversations with him, I came out to California and we just got started right away, hit the ground running, and haven't looked back since. At this point, being a relative startup company, it involves wearing many hats. A lot of the guys that we work with wear many hats and have many responsibilities. So at this point, it's doing everything from sales to account management to promotions, marketing, to handling the back end of the business, and also, of course, dealing with our nonprofit partners to make sure that the projects that we are funding get done in a responsible way and an effective way.
When operating a small company, you'll face many challenges. Jeff Church and company have prepared themselves to face any hurdles that come their way.
The ways we keep overhead low at Nika are to outsource as much as we possibly can. And I think that's one of the really important things in starting a business, really of any kind. I mean, you don't want to outsource things that, are a really high quality level that you need to be in charge of that. But really with bottled water, it's about branding. It's not about the manufacturing. The values created in the branding and the image and all that, and not so much in the manufacturing. And I think lots of times companies or people, when they start something, they feel like they want to make it all themselves because then they don't have different profit margins that they're paying on the outside. But if you work with someone who's really good at what they do, then you're much better to let them do it, even though you're paying them a profit margin, because they're buying all their product in bulk, so they're able to get their costs down as low as possible. Nika has about 7 employees in total, and pretty much all of them are sales-related people with one administrative person.
The Nika team has elevated their support a step further, taking the time to travel to underprivileged communities and helping them firsthand.
On June 16th of 2011, we had the great opportunity at Nika to take about 50 people with us from the United States to Kenya to turn on a water system. We actually did a water walk with the mamas and the girls from the community, where we actually walked from their homes all the way down to the river, where they have to get water, and carried it back up to their homes. And we were carrying 50-pound jerry cans on our heads, and these little women that were 5 foot tall were carrying these 50-pound cans on their heads, and us 6-foot men were struggling to carry these 50-pound cans of water. And the crazy thing about this is they do this every day, and they do it multiple times a day. And because they do this every day, they aren't able to go to school. Because they aren't able to go to school, they tend to get pregnant and married at 13, 14 years old, and their kids are born into that same poverty trap, that same cycle of poverty. So with clean water, we're able to actually break that cycle of poverty and have the girls go to school. Because what we do with our partners is we say to them, look, we'll send your daughters to school and we'll send them home with a clean 5-gallon jerry can of water. And at some level, the parents don't care as much about the school, but they really want the water. We care, of course, about the water and the school, because just by keeping the girls in school through 8th grade, we're able to, give them a trade to increase their maturity. And then they tend not to get married and pregnant until they're, in their 20s, and they're able to break that cycle of poverty that they aren't able to do naturally. I have a sample of the water from our water walk, and as you look over here, you can see the clean water and the contaminated water. This water on the right actually has typhoid in it. I mean, it's animal feces, it's human feces, it's farming, fertilizer in some cases. It's really bad stuff that's in this water. And as we were taking the water out of the stream, there were kids swimming, there were kids drinking the water, there were cows defecating in the water, there were people doing their laundry in the water. And I mean, they just, at a very basic level, they really aren't aware that that this is a problem. And diarrhea and diarrheal diseases are the biggest killer in the developing world. And it's because they just don't know what clean water is. In fact, the crazy thing is that when we first turn clean water onto them, they think that the clean water is actually dirty because it's not brown like their normal water. And they think brown means nutrients and that kind of stuff. So we actually have to educate the people that their water is dirty and our water is clean. And what we got to do during this trip is we got to turn on a water system for 1,000 people that Nika sponsored. It was about a $225,000 project. And when you see the look on their faces once they realize that we've just changed their lives, because instead of having to walk down to the river to get polluted water 3 times a day and consume their whole day with that, they're able actually to get alternative jobs. They're able to do beading. They're able to buy a goat and use the goat to create income, and they're able to really transform their lives. So just with a clean bottle of water, a clean water supply, they're able to actually transform their lives in a really meaningful way. So in the first 3 years, we've donated about $350,000 to the 6 projects that we've done. And as you can imagine, with our sales only being $500,000, that hasn't all been out of our profits. But we believe very strongly in our causes of bringing clean water and education to people. So my partner and I have initiated donations above and beyond the capital within Nika, just because we believe in the cause, and also we wanted to create a very authentic understanding with people that Nika really is about donating and really is about bringing clean water to these organizations.
Business has grown by the number of accounts that we're in, going from 0 to probably close to 1,000. Business has grown in the types of accounts we're in, from going to a simple coffee shop to all of the Whole Foods in California. Business has grown from location, from going simply in our backyard in San Diego, all the way out to Inland Empire, Los Angeles, and up to San Francisco now. And we're currently looking for distribution in Las Vegas, and we've been talking to Hawaii and the Pacific Northwest. So it's constantly changing and constantly evolving and progressing into new things, and we love every minute of it.
I think the greatest benefit of owning your own business, whether it's a for-profit or a non-profit, type business, is to control your own destiny, and to really be able to, you do as well as you can do, and you don't have to rely on other people to or be beholden to other people to achieve what you want to achieve. And at the end of the day, I'd much rather be responsible for my own actions and be able to put a team together that can really feel empowered and kind of build a business the way I want to build it, from an ethical standpoint and from a standpoint of empowerment. And I think that's one of the really nice things about having your own business, is you can create the culture that you want, you can create the type of business that you want, and ultimately you can be successful or fail based on what you do. But I'd much rather have that be that than it would be being accountable to someone else.
For updates and prizes, follow us on Twitter at WTB Show.
This episode was made possible by Qualcomm. Qualcomm celebrates Southern California's most innovative thinkers. To learn more about the entrepreneurial ideas and bold imaginations that drive the future of digital communications, visit Qualcomm.com.